in order to maintain trust in a romantic relationship or in a partnership or in a marriage, we need to have responsibility over our actions, our words, and we need to be standing in authority of ourselves as individuals. So both parties that show up in the relationship are exercising full and complete authority and responsibility over their words and their actions. If one person does something, whether or not it is in public in front of the other person or behind closed doors, what they do, what they choose to consume, what they allow into their spiritual, their mental, their emotional, their physical space, all of these things are going to be then brought to the table when these two people go to interact. So we're absorbing a lot more from people, especially if we're in close relations with them. If they are an influence in our lives, we're also being influenced by what they are allowing to influence them. So in a relationship, it benefits the couple and the strength of the relationship to be going along in the same direction with the same or similar sort of intake, where what's influencing both couples is, first of all, out in the open. It's known. It's nothing that one person wouldn't do without the other person, or both people would be okay with, because when two become one, it really is a unit. The two are really going together in life, and they're going to be playing off of or working with what each other brings to the table when they come together, which, especially if they're married and living together, that's going to be quite often. Okay? And so for each person to remain trustworthy, it's best to keep to practices of intentionality, openness, honesty with one another, where each person is intentional about what they do in their personal life and what they do as a couple. And so if we're open and honest about what we are choosing to do intentionally and being integrous to what we say we're doing intentionally in our own lives, and then allowing that to be seen, to be heard, to be received by the other person, to be laid out on the table. That way y'all can have your cards laid out on the table and it's a clear picture of what we're working with. There's no guessing games that have to be had or happening. There's no trust issues or questionings, because everything's already been laid out on the table. And that way it's like you can effectively go farther with the person that you're with, when there is just that open transparency, and also when you're aligned in what you're doing. If you guys are really working together, and if you guys are really like a unit, that's going to look like moving as one. That's going to look like wherever you go, there's going to be not just the one of you, there's a two of you. And whether or not he or she is there, you're still going to show up with the backing of your spouse, with the backing of your man or your woman, because behind closed doors, y'all already had each other's backs. Like, y'all already talked about this. You already knew, like, you were aligned in your goals, in your intentions, in your your support for one another. It's like the two are meant to go together. But being a strong individual helps bring more value to the team unit. And so where one person needs work, the other can help the other, or strengthen each other, coach each other, give each other feedback, because one person helping the other person, is going to help them going together. And the team, the unit, is going to be more effective. Like, if one person is reluctant to help the other he's gonna be dragging that person anyways, or she gonna be dragging him anyways. Like, might as well take the time to stop and look at your teammate. You think about tandem races where you're like, two people's legs are tied together and they have to run a race. If one person is running their own speed with disregard to the person next to them, and they're gonna end up dragging that person, probably maybe end up falling over themselves. Like, it's harder on the individual at that point to continue going without taking the time to invest in one another. So, like, the effectiveness of the unit and the team is by how these two interact, the decisions, and the intentionality, people, that's gonna be my new word, is how we come together, and just being committed to that, just like being honest about how we come together, and then how we move forward, or how these two people in a relationship, whoever you are, moving forward. That's really what makes the unit of the couple effective, and it also makes the individuals more effective, because it's like then rather than sitting here dragging along, going 2 miles an hour, like, this person is going, if they're moving together as a team, both individuals are going to be able to go farther as a team. That's the point of, like, having a marriage is going together with someone where you can go farther, you're more effective, you're more accurate, you're more efficient. Like, those are the things that are just capable in relationships, where it's really benefits us to be in alignment with someone who is also in alignment with us, who's also supportive of us, and to be on the same page with one another. That's like the direction. If you either, I say, get on the same page or get out, and just either end the relationship, move on, find someone else that you're better with, that's actually focused on what you're doing, and is actually like moving in the same general direction. Because if one person, this analogy, if one person is trying to tie the knot, and you think about the other person is they're just trying to play tug of war, okay? One person trying to tie the knot, trying to be with this person, the other person playing tug of war. It's not going to work out very well. It's going to get very irritating for one person. And some couples are both of them are trying to play tug of war, so it's just this constant back and forth, where it's like you want to find somebody who's there, ready to tie the knot. The other person is there to tie the knot, and it's like you effectively work together. And some couples are like, boom, bam, met him, like, proposed, got married, boom, boom, boom. Like, it just flowed, because they were ready to show up for one another, and they were ready to be on the same page, and willing to be on the same page. That's like key. People have to be willing to be together, and that's where marriage or relationships can challenge an individual's life, because you're no longer just doing whatever you want, unless you want to be dragging someone, or unless you want to be playing tug of war. Like, who wants that? That's just a recipe for burnout and exhaustion. Like, it's best to just be single at that point. If you're gonna be expending that much energy, do your own thing anyways. Like, let's look in the mirror and talk to ourselves for a minute, figure out like what we actually want to do. Like, I had to do that personally in order to recognize, okay, this other relationship I was in didn't work out. So now it's a matter of just showing up and being ready to go when it's time for whoever, for anything that happens is really, it's up to us. We have a choice in how we show up in other people's lives, and we do have a choice of the consequences that we're willing to experience. To a certain extent, some things just happen, and it's like, we didn't expect to have certain consequences, but then it's like there are a lot of things where it's like, do I want to be vulnerable here? Do I want to be? I hope that somebody would just be willing to be honest, but like what is the person that I want to be? And those are the questions that I tend to ask myself. But it's like, for being in a relationship, if we can be honest with ourselves and just say, what is it that I'm wanting to be? What is it that I'm willing to be? And what am I not willing to be? Like, getting clear on these values, because then when there's two who are aligned, who are in the same agreement about the direction they're going, that is going to make an effective team. That is going to be a beautiful thing, and we want to see that happening in the world.